Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at this really interesting knife here. This is the Sencut Snap. So, let's get right into this. Before we start, though, I do want to say this handle variation that you see here, I dyed this myself. This is not a version you can get. This started out as the JG10 version. There are several different versions of this knife that you can get, though. Yeah. I was trying some gradient dyeing. I think it came out pretty good. I've got a little bit of a runoff there, but anyways, let's take a blade length measurement of this guy. We're coming in, I'm gonna call it 3.5 inches. It's a tiny bit under, but for all intents and purposes, it's 3.5 inches. Let's go ahead and just jump into our size comparisons. Let's grab our rats. There is the one. Scoot these back a little bit. And here's the two. There you go. Get these guys out of here. Let's bring out the bug out. And the PM2. There you go. Let's go ahead and grab our Civivis. This guy's cousins. There's the Praxis. The Elementum. Cool, cool, cool. And let's compare it against a couple of Sencuts to close us out. Here is the Sencut Scepter, the very first knife I ever reviewed on this channel. Fond memories, which I have also since then dyed, since these scales, they were the brown micarta. They got to be just ugly and ugh, they did not break in, they wore out. And against the Sencut Episode, another newer Sencut. These two were released around the same time, and I like this knife a lot. But yeah, there we go. So, very similar in size to the Episode. Alrighty, so what are we looking at here in terms of materials? We have a clip point blade of 9CR18 MOV with a stonewash finish. Very, very nice. Handles, in this case, are G10, steel liner lock, steel clip, ceramic ball bearings. Pretty basic construction. Yeah. Let's go ahead and I'll go and cut over to the cutting footage. You know, I always make that pun. Cut over to the cutting footage. Anyways, hope you enjoy that. Alrighty. Sencut Snap. Let's talk about that action first. It better be snappy, right? In all reality, yeah, the action's great. I love the shape of this flipper tab. I love the way the handle flows into it. Got good jimping. You can push button. And you can light switch. Really, really nice action on the drop. Pretty good. Ooh, that wind might get a little bit annoying. So yeah, the action, really good. You can even, if you get it in the right spot, reverse look it out like that. So that's cool. I don't know why, but Sencut seems to nail their actions more consistently than Civivi. Don't know why. How are the ergos? They are 100% neutral ergos. 100%. The clip doesn't even bother me that much in this case. It's a pretty long clip, not super tall compared to the knife, the rest of the knife. You can feel it, but it's not like annoying. So yeah, not bad. You have jimping up here. It's pretty good. But yeah, absolutely 100% neutral ergos. And you have a pretty big handle there. So even if your hands are bigger than mine, I'm sure you'll be fine. How's it carry? Well, let's take a look. I think it carries pretty good. It's a pretty thin knife. not super heavy. I talked about this before. I don't really care that much about weight, so if you do, I'm probably not the channel for you. Anyways, let's do some slicing. I bet it'll be pretty good. The blade thickness is about 17 thousandths. Flat grind. This is 9CR18 MOV. Nice little clip point. Yeah, like butter. Got through it like butter. Okay, next, let's grab my rope. Let's get down here a little bit closer. Where's that rope? There we go. Okay, not bad. Remember, this stuff is very, very unforgiving to knives. And so what I'm doing is I'm not trying to like slice through it. I'm trying to just kind of push down, see if I can get the blade through. So yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Not bad. If I did it on a harder surface, it'd be a little bit easier, but yeah, not bad at all. Pretty good. Let's grab our pool noodle. Not bad. Alrighty. Sencut snap. Let's get into what I like and what I don't like. First off, this blade. This is a really good functional clip point. I love clip point blades. A lot of you probably know that. And this is a very nice clip point. We have a good swedge here. Flat grind, pretty high flat grind, comes down to a very, very good thin edge. Like that a whole lot. 9CR is a steel that I have no problems with. It's very good. So I'm happy to see it here. Jimping on top of the blade is really nice. It's placed very well. This jimping is placed exactly where I want it, which not a lot of knives do that, honestly. And so it's good to see that here. Very good jimping. It's got good texture to it. If it'll focus in there. Yeah, nice jimping. I like that jimping a whole lot. This style clip point blade is just very good for EDC. I really like this type of blade. So yeah, I mean it's not as aggressive a clip point as something like the episode, which I prefer the looks of this one. But if I'm being honest, this is a little more utilitarian. So yeah, really, really cool. Next thing I like, there's a bunch of different options of this knife. The JG10, which of course is great for customization. Then you have a wood version. You have a couple other colors of G10. I think some micarta. So a lot of different versions that you can get. Really, really nice. T8 hardware all the way around. The clip is reversible, which I like. However, well, we'll get on to, we'll talk about what I don't like about the clip later. Oper pillar construction. So it should be nice and easy to clean out, which is really, really good. You have actually a pretty good size stop pin in here. And it is collared, so the blade wraps around it. I like that. That's pretty good. The action on this knife is really, really great. I don't know why, but it seems like Sencut dials their detents better than Civivi. I don't know why, because these are made in the same factories, I think. Sencut is just a sister brand of Civivi, but here's what I think makes this action so good. Obviously, the pivot is pivot assembly. Is that what the word I'm looking for? The pivot is well made. It has cage ceramic ball bearings, so very smooth. But this flipper tab is really good, and flipper tabs have a lot to do with the action on a flipper knife, surprisingly. So the jimping on it is done very well. You can see it goes and wraps around to there. Really, really nice. It's got good grip to it. You can really, really hold on to it. The other thing it does well is, let's grab another knife here, is it's sitting almost exactly in line with the center line of the pivot. I like that a lot. That means you get more leverage. And another thing that gives you more leverage is that the handle swoops down into the flipper tab. I love this on a knife. When the handle leads into the flipper tab like that, it makes it very hard to miss a flip. I did that on purpose just to show you the shape of everything. When you pull this knife out of your pocket, your finger goes here and it just guides you back into a flip. It's so nice. It is a great, great action. Push button, you can absolutely do it. Very snappy. I mean, it's called the snap. If it wasn't snappy, I'd be asking for my money back. But, oh, good, good action. Plus, the detent is even tuned good enough that if you get it just right, you can reverse flick it. Can I fail this? One more try. No, I can't fail this. That's a good action. And, you know, I will say I haven't had... What was the last flipper that Civivi made? Maybe Civivi is getting better at their flippers, but, I mean, take stuff like the Dogma. Has a detent that's crap. But, you know, whatever. This one is not crap. It's very good. I like to see that. And look, they gave you an actual flipper tab. I mean, Civivi's known for kind of these little tiny flipper tabs. This is a good substantial flipper tab. Gives you plenty of everything to grab onto. So I like that. Next, T8 hardware. That's good to see. The handle is, this is like the definition of neutral ergos. It's just, zoop. And it fits your hand good. The ergos are nice. And even if you have bigger hands than me, you have quite a bit of room to get back up, you know, to get back here. This is a full-size knife. I actually thought this knife would be smaller when I got it, and I was very happy to see that it's a full-size knife. Really, really nice. That's always nice to see. It carries good. It's a pretty slim knife. I mean, not the slimmest thing, but, well, let's compare it against a PM2. It's about... It's a tiny bit slimmer than the PM2, but I don't think the PM2 is too fat by any means. So, yeah, like that. Let's see what else is there. It carries well. The blade is a good performer. The ergos are very good. Very neutral. Action's great. Yeah, I think that's everything I like. Let's go ahead and move into what I don't like. The first thing I don't like, access to the lock bar, is basically non-existent. I mean, it's rough, man. Something I do to test the lock bar access and comfortable fidget factor of a knife in general is I play with them while I'm driving. Sometimes I have to drive long stretches at a time. In fact, I have to do that quite often. And so while I'm driving on the interstate, I'll sit there, just kind of flick my knife. Flick it open, unlock it, and see how long it takes my fingers to wear out and get tired of it. With this knife, flipper tab did not wear out my finger very readily. But unlocking it did, because you really have to jam your finger in there and get it over. So it's really thin, kind of sharp lock bar. In fact, I got to where I was using my nail. In fact, I grew out my thumbnail just to get in there and get at that lock. And as you can see, it's taken its toll. Little notch in there. But yeah, access to the lock bar is absolute garbage. So that's probably the biggest ding against this knife. Next thing, this knife came, the pivot was very loose when I got it. You can check out my first impressions of this knife. After like 2 or 3 days of just kind of carrying it and lightly using it, the centering came off and the blade was actually rubbing. I fixed it, Loctited the pivot and everything, so, you know, it's all better now, but yeah, that's a little bit annoying. Next thing, I don't like when companies use a pocket clip screw as a body screw. It just, to me, it introduces another level of annoyance when taking apart a knife. However, it's not as bad on this knife as it is on like a Civivi, because you can get into this pivot from either side. Unlike a Civivi where you can only get into it on this side. So that means if I don't want to mess with a clip, I can just, and I'm just trying to, maintain my knife, I can just take this scale off and, just disassemble it from this side and don't have to worry about taking a pocket clip off. But, sometimes it can be a hassle. It's not a huge deal. I am glad that the pocket clip is reversible. That's a huge plus. Next thing, this clip, it works well. It's not recessed, so you do get clip wiggle, which I don't like. I have it screwed down tight right now, but, it does have a little bit of a point there, but this knife is tall enough that this clip does not bother me in the hand very much at all. So I like that quite a bit. Quite a bit. In fact, yeah, you know what? I'm going to say it. I do prefer this pocket clip over some of these Civivi clips that annoy me so much. In fact, let's see if I've got one right here. Just finished reviewing a whole crap ton of Civivi, so I should have one laying around. I have all kinds of Civivi pouches. That's not the one I was looking for. Here he is, I think. Nope, that pouch is empty. Oh gosh. Is it here? Yeah, this one. So you see here on the Hadros, this clip is completely unacceptable because it's too high and too pokey for this narrow of a knife. On this knife, what you can see is that the clip, not only is it a little bit longer, but the handle is taller, so the clip disappears more easily in your hand. So I definitely appreciate that. But still, well, you know what? I'm not even sure why I put this in the bad, because the clip really isn't an issue at all. I'm just used to complaining about Civivi's clip, I guess. All right, moving on. This knife is just kind of boring, honestly. It's a very plain looking knife, nothing super exciting, and really there's a bunch of other knives out there right now that do exactly what this knife does. In the same price range, same materials. A lot of, most of them are made by Civivi, but, this knife just has a lot of competition in the budget knife world right now. And this one doesn't really excite too much. Yeah, which is why when I wanted to review this knife, I got the JG tin version so I could dye it and have some more fun with it, kind of make it my own, try some new stuff. I've never done this type of dye before. But, yeah, just a little bit of a boring knife, I guess. And the last thing I want to talk about isn't really an issue with the knife. It's just kind of, why is Sencut? Like, why? I don't get why Civivi thought they needed another line of knives. I really don't. Oh, one thing I can point out is this little lanyard post here. That's nice for people that want lanyards. Anyways, I mean, they're using the exact same materials as a Civivi, and this really is not that... this knife really isn't all that cheaper than a lot of Civivis. Although Civivi is starting to get a little more expensive. You have things like the Imperium, where the standard version of that knife is $65. The bow was $80. They're still coming out with things like the Hadros and Lazar that are kind of in the lower price tier, but those are still $60 knives. They do still make the Praxis, which is a $42 knife, but look, this is a $42 knife. So why isn't this just a Civivi? It really does confuse me. Plus, it seems like Civivi is kind of sharing designs with Sencut. They kind of share designs back and forth, which I'm not saying that's bad because, they are the same company. I'm just saying it feels a little bit For example, the Actium from Sencut looks very similar to the Civivi Backlash. This knife looks very similar to the Civivi Relic that came out recently. Although I do know that I don't think it's out yet. I don't think the Relic is out yet. But anyways, they're very similar knives, but the Relic does have... It is a different knife, but they kind of look similar. Civivi's coming out with a button lock called the Cogent that looks very similar to the Episode. And I'm not saying they don't look exactly alike, but they look similar. And I don't know, that's just a little bit weird to me. Like, I don't get why we have Sencut. But, you know, that's not really a ding on this knife itself. So what are my final conclusions? So price on this guy, like I said, $42. Yeah, I think this knife is definitely worth $42. Do I recommend it? Honestly, this access to the lock bar is a big issue for me. It really is. It's not that comfortable. It'll wear you out. But it's the biggest flaw on this knife. And if you can look past that, it's a good knife. It's definitely a good EDC tool. It's just not super exciting. So yeah, recommendation, really, it's a good knife. I might do a mod where I cut out some access to the lock bar, but I was going to do that, but the reason I didn't already is because you see the, you can look through the G10 here, and you can see how thin of a metal piece there is right there. So I'm afraid that if I try and mill that out to get better access to the lock bar, I'll just end up with some like sharp, pokey edges. I don't want to mess with that, but so yeah, recommendation on this knife. It's a light recommend from me. Like, it's a good knife. It really is. It's a good EDC budget knife. But, you know, it's kind of plain. There, if you really want a Sencut, I definitely recommend the Episode. It's more comfortable. It looks cooler. Basically the same materials. And it is a functional knife. I don't know. This one, the biggest issue is the lock bar, but other than that, it's a perfectly fine knife. If you want it, go ahead and buy one. And that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.